Alright, so it's me. You should know. David Brent. From the TV show The Office that aired about 10 years ago. I know what you're thinking. I sound different. Well, I had a lesson in how to be talking good and that. So, in this presentation I will tell you all about some techniques that were used in the show The Office and how it encapsulated the emotions of a working nation and why it is relatable on many different levels. I am David Brent. Welcome to my office. The office is about people and their relationships. The photocopier, when shown in the office, is just the same shot of a photocopier churning out paper. This is used as a metaphor to portray the dullness and tediousness of working in an office every day. Dawn Tinsley, my receptionist, is a very bright young girl and an exceptional artist. I would never say that to her face. Yeah, she dreams of becoming a children's illustrator, but the fact that she works in an office has lowered her ambitions and her aspirations got lost. There are always shots of Dawn just staring into space at her desk or looking at Tim, waiting for him to do something funny or simply look back at her. In my office, there are subtle moments that restore all of someone's faith and ambition. This gives the audience hope for the characters and they then translate that hope into their own lives, making it relatable. I feel I am responsible for this. I'm like the king. No. The god of the office. Sorry about that. I had one of Keith's Scotch eggs earlier. As I was saying, the office uses many techniques to relate to millions of people at one time. One is the metaphor of the photocopier that I mentioned earlier. Another technique used is the talking heads parts of the show. This is where the characters spill out their true feelings and thoughts about their own lives and the other characters. Because the show is so subtle and close to reality, the use of talking heads, like this one I am giving you now, gives the audience an insight into the minds of the characters. Sometimes they are funny and we distance ourselves from the characters, like when I mentioned Dolly Parton's tits. I didn't know the BBC would put that in. But they did and they made me look like a fool. Other times they are really heartfelt, like when Tim is talking about his feelings towards Dawn. They create a bond between the audience and the characters and give the audience a definitive and clear perspective on how they should perceive each of us. Seriously though, in episode 4 of series 1 we see the emotional peaks and troughs of Tim, Dawn and David. I, David, do not sometimes realize what I am saying and often contradict myself and make a fool of myself. But I was only doing that for the cameras. I'm not like that in real life. In this episode, because David has been told to listen like the rest of the staff by an outsider to the company, I unravel my true colors. Which are that I hate authority and being told what to do, and this forces me to say things that make me look stupid. I am a big show-off but don't really have anything great to show off. But that's just what people say. You can make your own mind up. Show them a clip. Ben Shannon, watch and learn. We also see Dawn going through problems with her boyfriend and how she is reacting to that. We learn from Dawn that she has been engaged for 3 years to her fiancé, so there is always a notion of constant stagnancy. There is a feeling of being trapped for her character because she is having personal troubles but still has to be in a meeting listening to me go on and on about something I don't really know anything about and having only Tim to turn to, who himself is feeling trapped. He feels trapped within his job and doesn't think he is going anywhere. The being trapped aspect of working in a dead-end job is something that appeals to so many people because so many people simply live just like that. But there are moments within the office, and this episode in particular, where we see the characters trying to break out of the mundane boringness of an office. Show them the other clip, you silly bint. So as we see, the office contains a lot of emotion from each character. All of these feelings from each character all come to the surface, interlink and explode through the television into the audience's eyes, and the storyline melts into your brains. The Office uses the format of a documentary and naturalistic acting to make the show as real as possible. Anyway, because of this technique, The show gives the audience the chance to look right inside the ins and outs of what seems to be a real working office. This poses the question though, why would people want to watch something that they themselves are so used to and tired of? Well, the answer is this. The use of multiple storylines merging together and the constant struggle of the underdog, which the audience relates to, makes you want to watch more. The bits of hope that are spread throughout each episode drag the viewer through an excellent through line of action. Also, if the viewer's office day consisted of me telling as many great jokes as I do, then they would be a whole lot happier, right? In episode 4, about 90% of the episode takes place in one room. So the viewer seems like they themselves are going through the same training class. There is still a distance created, however, because of the cameras. That gives the audience the feeling of being able to laugh at the characters and doesn't make them feel too uncomfortable. The actual structure of this episode is built in a similar style to a theatre play, in that the second half of the training seminar is shorter than the first. This is because in the first part, the characters have formed a path in which they travel through the episode and the audience can see this clearly. And in the second half each character has a conclusion, thus forming a conclusion to the episode. For example, Dawn's is her getting back with her fiancé, Tim's is storming out of the seminar and asking Dawn out. And mine, well, I do a clever thing of not really having a conclusion in an episode. This leaves you, the audience, hanging on to my character to what I will do the next week. That is just as, or even more embarrassing than the week before. The use of music is cleverly used in this episode. We know me, David Brent, to be the type of guy who likes to entertain but would often take it too far and make people feel uncomfortable. But even then, even when everything about my songs make your skin crawl because the lyrics are just awful, I pull something like this out of the bag. Get the clip up, they'll love this. Even then, my character brings hope, using the power of music in an unwelcoming atmosphere to bring people together. I fuck it all up again afterwards by trying too hard, as usual. But you get the idea. The audience is given the opportunity to side with any of the characters in different parts of the show because they are all underdogs at one point or another. So in conclusion, The Office uses an excellent array of techniques to draw in an audience and make the program relatable to them, especially an audience of working people. It does this by using certain camera techniques, clever plot structures and the characters' emotive arcs throughout an episode. As we looked at episode 4 in particular, we can see that each character has something that an audience can relate to. Be that Dawn's boredom and how she doesn't change anything about her life because she is perhaps scared of the consequences. Or Tim's search for a better life and how he is also as trapped as Dawn and the other characters, and his way of dealing with them, especially me, David. Then there is me, David Brent, the boss from hell, right? Wrong. But as an audience you will see me as a horrible boss, and this is massively relatable as many people do have a boss like me in their life. So there you have, we've delved into The Office, my office. I made the big bucks out of this. Now go please. Thank you.